pretty shocking news just dropped in my opinion. ADOR, the label behind NewJeans, under HYBE of course, has given an update about the three remaining members that technically had not been given an update officially from the label. As you might remember, we got Heron and Hyen, Heron and Hyen, my camera being weird, about that they were returning to ADOR and the label and to NewJeans at it was my birthday actually, November 12th. There were like some unconfirmed reports and like independent reports going out that like the three other members had expressed their intention to return to the group, and that they wanted to, but some of them were traveling. But ADOR actually and HYBE never confirmed that that was true. The official statement was always that they're checking on their intentions. So I always thought it was a bit weird that so much of the media jumped on that right away. But I just never take anything for certain until like every side has confirmed it. So keep that in mind. So what we officially have now, after ADOR put out a statement very early in Korea local time on the 29th, late the 28th in the US, was that Hanni is returning to ADOR and the group because ADOR had said that they had conversations with all three members and their family members, and Hanni's was successful in that they had an understanding conversation. She's back joining Hiren and Hayen in that way. Minji, eldest member, is still in discussions and talks, but it sounded positive. Like there wasn't much of an update, but it sounded positive. Like they're still figuring things out. The really shocking announcement was that Danielle, the fifth member, that required a more lengthy update, was that she has the way it was kind of worded, and again, this is very like official press release media talk, is that they, after discussions, they found that would be difficult for Danielle to continue as an artist under ADOR and a member of NewJeans, and so it was ADOR that terminated her contract, which is kind of crazy to read because isn't that what the whole legal case was about? Terminating the contract, but I just I just that's just a personal note. But so already New Jeans, as we might have known it as five members, is not going to be together. We haven't heard anything from Danielle. We haven't heard from any of their sides. I mean, if ADOR is their representatives, like there's still things to update and there's still things to go through. In particular, I want to mention that there's a part in the statement where ADOR says how through these conversations that they've been having with their family members is that there's been distorted, biased information, which led to many misunderstandings about the company and ultimately to this dispute. The company and the artists agree that to regain the love of fans and public, it's necessary, even if it takes some time, to fully dispel these misunderstandings based on accurate facts. We also agreed to find an opportunity to address various controversies. So that's kind of interesting too, because to me, I feel like there needed to be this understanding from both sides, to be honest, that, the label side needed to step up for the artists and show that they're, really here for them and things like that. But the artists also need to be able to trust the label and needed to go along with these plans and things like that. So to me, this is, I want to take it as a positive point that they did decide certain things that they need to discuss and they need to get going and address before anything moves like too much forward. But also that's kind of like, I don't know. I mean, I personally wanted to see new music put out before the end of the year. I thought that would have been a really good show of faith from both sides to say like, whether it was heavily promoted or not, just like getting something out as like a thank you to the fans or something special put out before the end of the year to say like, we know things have been tough, but New Jeans is still New Jeans, ADOR is still supporting them. Things like I think that would have been a really good show of faith, and I honestly was kind of expecting and hoping that something like that would happen before the end of the year. It seems like there's other things that need to get addressed firsthand. So to me, it's almost kind of like, great, there's like another kind of something beyond the music and things like that needs to get addressed. There's also this part about plan to pursue legal accountability for one members of Danielle's family and former CEO Minji Jin, and to me it doesn't sound like, like, again, this is just something far beyond the music, something that's just gonna delay things more and more. To me, that's not like that happiest news, of course, in so many ways, and I just think, like, again, with this kind of accountability and trust that needs to be done on both sides, like saying that you're, regardless about how the members might feel about one another, or wherever they are at in their discussions, hearing that they're going to go sue your former members, family member, these things are just like difficult. And I wish this wasn't like so vague, because, if something like really harmful happened, or if there was someone like doing something that was actually harming the artist, like that's not good, right? But then reading this, it just kind of, again, to me, I don't really like corporate speak, and I don't like just being vague about things, when this has been such an emotional issue for so many people. So that's just, in my opinion, I just thought that was going to cause more fires rather than put them out. It's all kind of fascinating, because I can't stop thinking about my buddy John Caramonica at the New York Times' piece in 2025, K-pop battled its demons. It's like a year-end look at K-pop, and if you can't tell, that's Danielle in the main photo. I know he really loved NewJeans, and actually he was at the Complex Con in Hong Kong, so I got to hear about that a bit. But there's this really interesting part, like the eventual outcome of the face-off, and this is kind of talking about how NewJeans was something quite fresh for the scene, something that, wasn't really seen since like BTS, in terms of like a group and an artist that could expand the definition and really change things for K-pop. But I thought this part will indicate whether K-pop as an industry is interested in aesthetics or simply scale, bottom-up innovation or top-down domination. And it's, definitely worth it to go through the whole article. But there's this really interesting part about how, K-pop isn't necessarily a destination anymore. It's like a starting point, it's an influence, but everything is trying to go beyond that, whether that's, Cat's Eye starting under HYBE and going to, be this global girl group, or something like Rosé, starting Blackpink, going with, seeing what she did this year with Apatu, or K-pop Demon Hunters. There's there's these other examples that were listed, and yeah, it just kind of got me thinking, like, about how, NewJeans was, sure, it was K-pop, but it really was something quite fresh in that way, and I think that is definitely something worth valuing, and they did really well. Look at the charts and what they were able to accomplish so quickly. But this was just a really good piece, and I don't agree with everything, but it's was a great story, and it just got me thinking about a lot of things. So that's how I'm gonna end this little update, but just some thoughts from my side while we're watching this, because I think there's still lots to discuss. So let me know what you guys think, because I just feel like the story is just starting. So starting the conversation now.